hero comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Morning. Hello. I'm gonna go warm up my coffee a little bit. And I'm back. Nobody here yet, huh? All right. That's all right. Everybody's probably at church and stuff. Meetings, sleeping, doing chores. It's Sunday. People doing chores. I'm just gonna make an excuse for nobody being here. Well, somebody will be here eventually. My February podcast performance, 555 downloads. Most popular day, Saturday at 7 p.m. in the United States. Doesn't really help much. Good morning, Michelle. It's good to see you. Felt like there was a cat back there, because there is. No, I don't want your butthole on my head. Dear Lord. Sorry for anybody listening. It's a cat. So, yeah. I didn't sleep very well. I didn't sleep horribly. Hold on a second. Use that door, dude. Can't open it. I'm sorry, everybody. Hold on. Gotta work this out. There you go. Now you got an open door. Somebody decided to start vacuuming, so I had to close the door, but I had to open the other door. All right, because I got that door. That's the door that I usually use, but then there's this door goes into my bedroom. Door. But that one only opens from the other side. So, yeah, 500. Yeah, video. Those downloads in the month of February. 555. So not bad. I've actually had like a huge increase. Great. What's that? You're done vacuuming or the vacuuming works?
Vacuum works and the suction's great.
Good. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. I'm a little irritable today for some reason. Yeah. I take one of these. I need one. They're just beefed up Tylenol or Advil. That's all it is. Got a lot of pain. My neck hurts. My finger's killing me. I had a brace on it last night, and it feels like it made it worse. So I don't know, man. Okay, so we're gonna be in the big book. That's enough complaining from Dion this morning. We're going to be in the big book this morning, chapter 2, Diagnostics. Welcome, Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. And yeah, I'm your host. If you're here, please say hello, whether watching live or the rewatch. All right. So, chapter 4, we agnostics. In the preceding chapters, you have learned something of alcoholism. We hope we have made it clear the distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. If when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking, you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably an alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. It's a bold, pretty bold statement, huh? A lot of people don't agree with that. I get a lot of contention on stuff because quite often that I see posts and they'll be like, "Oh, I thank this person and I thank that person for getting me sober." I'm like, where's God in all that? There's God, man. This isn't an award show. There's a lot of people in my life that have supported me getting sober. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people that listen to me. But, in my experience, we're not doing the whole growling thing, Sawyer. I'm grumpy enough. We don't need 2 grumpusauruses this morning. Right? Only the spiritual experience can, in my belief, in my experience, man, we really have a cat show going on. We're not vacuuming anymore, so let me take care of this. Dear Lord Sawyer, nah. All right. I apologize to anybody because this goes on Podbean also. So, all right. I'll try and get to this now. I apologize. Okay. To one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, such an experience can seem impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on spiritual basis are not always alternatives to face. Yeah, it kind of feels like an ultimatum, doesn't it? Because it is. It's an ultimatum. Well, we're going to call it what it is. Absolutely, it is. I'm sorry. Those are your choices. They're my choices too. And see me whining about it. See me crying about it. I'm going to tell you, I've seen a lot of alcoholic deaths, and they're not pretty. They're not pretty. It sucks that this is what it comes down to for us, but it isn't any different than other mental illnesses. Autism. Yeah, autism. You think they can handle that? Narcissism. Narcissism's another one. It's a mental illness. It is. They can't help themselves. They don't know how to regulate. Right? Is narcissism curable? No. Is alcoholism curable? No. Is autism curable? No. You think they had a choice? You think these people were given a choice? Right? When Christopher Reeves fell off that horse and he was paralyzed for the rest of his life, he made the fucking best of it. Michael Jackson, Michael J. Fox, who has Parkinson's disease. You see him out there with a bad fucking attitude. No, you don't. Right? A lot of people go through a lot of things in this world, and you're lucky it's alcoholism. You're lucky it's alcoholism. because it could have been something much worse. But it isn't so difficult. About half our original fellowship were exactly that type. At first, some of us tried to avoid the issue, hoping against hope we were not true alcoholics. But after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find spiritual basis of life, or else perhaps it is going to be that way with you. But cheer up. Something like half of us thought we were atheists or agnostic. Our experience shows that you need not be disconcerted. I know a lot of atheists and agnostics in the program, and they found a higher power. They did the work, and now they're out there helping other alcoholics. Yep, I see it all the time. Right? The only thing that's going to stop you from finding your own higher power is belligerent denial or ignorance. You know, even I believe in science. I love science. I find it very, very interesting. We get to mix things together and make new colors or foamy things or blow things up. I'm a guy. So, all right. But even science tends to prove that there's existence of something bigger than us. Yep. If the moon didn't travel the way that it did, if it was 1% off its axis, we would not be here. If the sun was 1% off, we would not be here. If gravity was 1% off, we wouldn't be here. The universe in and of itself is perfection. All right. If a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. But we found that such codes of philosophies did not save us no matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral. We could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly. I'm a finite person. We tend to think we know everything in this world. It's not true, man. Watch people run around being experts on things they're not even old enough to be experts on. They just haven't lived enough of this life. They haven't seen enough of it yet. Right? I'm 54. You think I want a life coach that's 25, 30? No, I don't. It'd have to be somebody older than me. Yes, it would. For a long time, I had a hard time looking for a sponsor. Nobody wanted to sponsor me. I asked a lot of people. The answer was always no. What are we going to do there? Right? It's hard to find people. For me, it isn't that I don't want to learn. I certainly do, and the more of what I really hear is the same thing, just put it a different way, which kind of helps me out. So, I try and learn from people who have been through more than me. That's where I tend to go, so that I don't have to make the mistakes that they made. Isn't that something bigger? Sure the fuck is. Tree in your backyard, the grass growing, the bees running around, the rabbits in your yard, all bigger than you. That highway that's in my backyard, there's a highway on the other side of our backyard. That's bigger than me. I make it. I don't even know how to make it. Weird. But yet we try and run around and decide all by ourselves what is right and what is wrong. We run around and we try and figure out, like the homeless is a good example. Oh, they want a roof over their head. Quit predicting what somebody wants and ask them. See, I am not the power that I need to relieve me of my alcoholism. Although you will tap in an unsuspecting inner resource, but I've been blocking myself with it. with my own set of morals, with my concepts, with what I deem to be right. I am not judge, jury, and executioner. I am none of them. So what does that leave me? You got to figure that one out yourself. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. Could be different for everybody. That's why you got to figure it out yourself. Okay. What did it leave me? Well, it left me with the freedom to be able to help other people. What it did. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. That was Dion's dilemma. That he had to find a power by which he could live, and it had to be a power greater than him, obviously. But when, but where and how were we to find this power? I'll tell you how my sponsor did it. He said, Dion, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to God. What you guys do from there is your business. He said, Dion, this is God. God, this is Dion. You guys have met. Start talking. It was really that straightforward. Now, I've never had a problem with a higher power. That wasn't my problem. I don't want to say even problem, sticking point. There's a sticking point for everybody in the program. So usually either God or the 4th step. Those are the big ones. Mine was 6 and 7 and figuring out that perfection and what it was. That was the big one for me. That was the hard one for me to get over. Or to not get over, but to work through, right? Well, that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problems. That means we have written a book which we believe to be spiritual as well as moral. And it means, of course, that we're going to talk about God. Here, difficulty arises with agnostics. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise as we discuss his alcoholic problem and explain our fellowship. But his face falls when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God, for we have reopened a subject which our man thought he had neatly evaded or entirely ignored. And, you know, it isn't just about atheist, agnostic, the denial of God or proof of existence. In a way, we are all kind of atheist or agnostic when we get here, even if we have religious trainings, even if we're praying every day, because we weren't even praying the right way. And that you cannot demand something and play God and believe in God at the same time. So in one way or another, we are all atheists or agnostic when we get here. There's some form of denial around God. Yeah. My belief was that God wasn't going to take me back. That was my belief. That's being an atheist. That I wasn't worthy enough of his love. Right? I was wrong on that one too. Right? So we know how he feels. We have shared his honest doubt and prejudice. Sure, I have. Even though I've always believed in God. I've always believed. I've never denied that there is no God. There was just no way for me. Some of us have been violently anti-religious. Being violently anti-religious is believing in something bigger than you. Just so you know. Yeah. It's still something bigger than you. Oops. To others, the word God brought up a particular idea of him which someone had tried to impress them on during childhood. I grew up Mormon. I know, please don't hate me. I didn't stay Mormon. No, there was no way. I saw the things they were doing. But I would go to church and they'd be talking about God and that you'd be damned and go to hell and all this. And I just didn't believe them. So I ignored it. I ignored them. I just switched them off. I was very good at that. Right? So I don't remember much. I remember going. I remember a little bit. But I don't remember what they were trying to impress on me because I didn't trust them. Why should I? None of these people would treat me right. These are the same people that would pick on me, that when we left when we weren't at church, I would see them act a different way. So I just didn't believe them. They were very contradictory in their actions. Right? Not all of them. Not all of them. But the ones preaching seem to be. Perhaps we rejected this particular conception because it seemed inadequate. And there it was for me. It was inadequate. With that rejection, we imagined we had abandoned the God idea entirely. We were bothered with the thought that faith and dependence upon a power greater than ourselves was somewhat weak, even cowardly. Right? That's how men are raised. You got to take care of you. You got to take care of you. Got to take care of you. And since I can remember, I've been taking care of me. I've had to. I had to survive. Even in my white suburbia household, I had to survive. I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to clean, or I didn't eat. Yeah, I was a latchkey kid, man. My parents were never home. If they were home, they were drunk, kind of like I was. Right? Things changed. That was when I was a kid. People are sober now and stuff. So we looked upon this world of warring individuals, warring theological systems, and inexplicable calamity with deep skepticism. We looked askance at many individuals who claim to be godly. How could a supreme being have anything to do with it all? And who could comprehend a supreme being anyhow? Yet in other moments, we found ourselves thinking, when enchanted by a starlit night, who then made all of this? There was a feeling of awe and wonder, but it was fleeting and soon lost. Yeah, those things don't usually tend to stick with us, and that'll be faded out by alcohol. It'll be faded out by alcohol. Or maybe you are drinking and you're thinking that way, but then that gets a little too close to being well, so you stop. Right? This thinking that we're weak. We're not. I have not really met a weak alcoholic. Yeah, people may, I don't know what got my parents sober, Michelle. They've never told me. I don't know. Treatment. I think it probably came down to that, because the man that raised me, he's not alcoholic. He's a non-alcoholic. But I think it was the man raising was going to divorce my mom and probably take the kids, kind of situation. But other than that, I don't know. And even then, he couldn't have taken me. I would have told him to fuck off. When my parents got us together and did that, I was on pass at this point. I was still living at home when my mom got sober, but I was on pass from Arapahoe shelter. When our parents sat us down, I'd tell them that they were getting divorced, and I told them I think it was a great idea. I thought they were miserable together, and I was right. I was right. I wasn't sad about it. What was I to be sad about? I didn't live there. And I honestly, I'm just going to be straight. I didn't care. Yeah, Sundays, you do a lot on Sundays. I'm glad you got to talk to your dad and your mom. Look at you go. That's awesome. Good job, Amber. Yes, we of an agnostic temperament have had these thoughts and experiences. Let us make haste to reassure you. We found that as soon as we were able to lay aside prejudice and express even a willingness to believe in a power greater than ourselves, we commenced to get results, even though it was impossible for any of us to fully define or comprehend that power, which is God. I brought up a lot of things that I don't understand. There's a lot of things in this. I don't know how they made these. Do you know how they made these? Do you? Even the cord that goes to it. Do you know anything about that? I know a little bit, but not enough to make one. You gotta make one of these? No? See, all this shit's bigger. A lot of effort had to be put in by thousands of different people. Thousands of different people. All right? But here it says that we express even a willingness. And willingness just means, yeah, I'm willing to take a look at that. I'm willing to be a little bit more open-minded and listen. Because we do get to a point where we will be willing to listen as much as the dying will be. So, much to our relief, we discovered we did not need to consider another conception of God. Our own conception, however inadequate, was sufficient to make the approach and effective contact with Him. There doesn't need to be much. The way the example I kind of use in this is when my kids need something, I don't make too hard terms. Well, if I'm a child of God or a child of something bigger than me or a higher power, and gosh, they're not going to make too hard terms. See, that's where the religious people I didn't feel were telling me the truth. That I would have to sacrifice everything that I am, or bow before God, or scrape, or grovel, or suffer in order to have His love. All that was wrong. It was wrong. I don't believe that. Right? As soon as we admitted the possible existence of a creative intelligence, a spirit of the universe underlying the totality of things, we began to be possessed by a new sense of power and direction, provided we took other simple steps. We found that God does not make too hard terms with those who seek Him. To us, the realm of the spirit is broad, roomy, all-inclusive, never exclusive or forbidding to those who earnestly seek. It is open, we believe, to all people, everyone. Yep. Including all the people that everybody are complaining about right now. I'm serious. I'm tired of the whining. I really am. I am tired of the fucking whining. Hey, put some action into your life, my friends. All right. Hi, Clara. It's good to see you. Good to see you. I'm on page 47 now, if you'd like to follow, for anybody that's just joining. When therefore we speak to you of God, we mean your own conception of God. This is where AA is entirely different from every single fucking program out there or any other way. We are not going to enforce anything on you. We, as in AA, there might be people in AA. There are plenty of people in AA that are my way and the highway. And they're very sneaky about it. They come across as really nice people. Okay? I'm not nice. I'm good. I'm not nice. Okay? I mean, if I was nice and I come on here to say everything to appease everybody, and that number would be huge. I'm not. And that's okay. I'm not required to be nice. I am required to be cordial to God's children. I can give them a little bit of respect. Sure I can do that. Okay? Nowhere in there does say I need to be nice about anything. Okay? Nice means I'm going to get stepped on. All right. But you get to choose your own, and nobody gets to fucking argue with it. Nobody gets to. Okay? Every now and then you might hear me talk about like a door handle as you're gone. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's just talk about it. It's an inanimate object. It's not bigger than you. It doesn't qualify. But if it works, who the fuck am I to argue? Right? Conception. Your own conception. Okay? This applies to other spiritual expressions you may find in this book. Do not let any prejudice, you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they mean to you. At the start, this was all we needed to commence. All we needed to commence spiritual growth, to affect our first conscious relation with God as we understood him. Afterward, we found ourselves accepting many things which then seemed entirely out of reach. That was growth. But if we wish to grow, we had to begin somewhere. So we used our own conception, however limited it was. I don't like the fact that they keep saying how limited it was and things like that. But they're trying to show that it doesn't take much of a start, that you don't really need to put much effort into it in order for you to make a connection. See, there's only one thing that's blocking me from the sunlight of the spirit, and it's me. And that's what we're trying to get ourselves to understand. That all these worldly clamors out there, like the people whining, you know what they're doing? They're intentionally keeping themselves out of the sunlight of the spirit by complaining about those things. And I know because I've done that. I have done that. I'll probably do it again. Okay. So we needed to ask ourselves but one short question. Do I believe, or am I even willing to believe, that there is a power greater than myself? As soon as a man can say that he does believe or is willing to believe, we emphatically assure him he's on his way. It has been repeatedly proven among us that upon the simple cornerstone, a wonderfully effective spiritual structure can be built. Do we know what a cornerstone is? Find out. Definition of cornerstone.
Here's the definition of cornerstone: an important quality or feature on which a particular thing depends or is based.
There you go. A stone that forms the base of a corner of a building joining two walls. So what are we talking about here? Well, you know, our program is kind of like building a house. That wall right there is a cornerstone. Okay, because that is an outlying wall. So that would be a cornerstone, but it needs to be fixed in place, right? We need mortar, we need sand, we need it, it had to be, then we put drywall up and we paint it. See how that kind of fits? It has been repeatedly proven among us that upon the simple cornerstone, well, without that there, this whole house will fall apart. Right? What is the cornerstone? Steps 1, 2, and 3. That was great news for us, for we had assumed that we could not make use of spiritual principles unless we accepted many things on faith, which seemed difficult to believe. Nope. You don't need to have this huge worldly, godly view and everything in order for these things to take place for you, in order for your obsession to drink is removed. It's not required. But gosh, this world made us think it was. That's why having our own conception is what matters. Your concept of God is not my same concept of God. And that's okay. It's the way it's supposed to be. Otherwise, we'd all be running around saying the same darn thing, man. But there's beauty in the differences between us, right? And sometimes you'll bring up your concept of God and things like that, and it helps me understand my concept of God a little bit more. Just like everything, this is going to take time. When people presented us with spiritual approaches, how frequently did we all say, I wish I had what that man has. I'm sure it would work if I could only believe as he believes. No, ain't gonna work. No, that's their conception. my conception of a higher power is going to get you drunk. So you can't have my higher power. So one thing I'm extremely selfish about that I will not share. Nope. I'm very, very selfish about that. Actually, I share it all the time by sharing my experience, strength, and hope. Sure, I do. But as for my actual higher power, nope. Nope. I don't even like meditating with other people. I just don't. I'm not big on really praying with other people. I know, sure, but it's mine. See, I've never really had anything in this whole world at any point that was all truly mine, but that one is. So, but I cannot accept, as surely the many articles of faith which are so plain to him. It was comforting to learn that we could commence on a simpler level. Courage is earned. Okay, courage is not just given. Courage is earned. Yeah. And there's only one way to do it, by walking through the hard things. Now, here's the cool thing. You don't have to do that alone anymore. You have your closed mouth friends, you have your friends in the program, you have your sponsor, you have your therapist, we have our husbands, we have our wives, we have our children. We don't have to do it alone anymore. I was the only one separating myself. I'm not saying that this world didn't go out of its way to separate me. It sure the fuck did. But in the long run, it was up to me. It was up to me. And I separated myself. I kept myself at arm's distance from pretty much everybody when I was drinking. Because I like to play this, Jim Beam and I like to play this game called Leave Me the Fuck Alone or I'll Hurt You. I don't know what it was. Because when it comes down to it, I'm not really like that. I don't really like that. I am naturally grouchy, though. I think that just comes with age. I'm a grouchy old man. So, all right. Well, I hope I see you all at the noon meeting. I'm going to head to Trudger since Amber's hosting and Becky's chairing. I head there. I was thinking about going to an in-person meeting, but it's too late to do that now. So, if you'd like the link, let me know. I'll get it to you. So starts in about 45 minutes. All right. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day.